Hey, what's up? I haven't done this for a bit, but I have something new to talk about. A couple weeks ago, I talked about Infamous. Well, I have the other, I have the next game that some people have been getting in flame wars about. It is something called Prototype. I finished this a couple days ago, so now I can talk about it, or at least what I think of it. Let's set things up. You play as the guy on the cover. His name is Alex Mercer. He wakes up in a morgue, with no recollection of who he is or what happened. So, as the story progresses on, Alex starts to discover more details, and the game just turns into a revenge saga. For what it is, the story is alright, and the way it's told is also pretty interesting. It's this system called the Web of Intrigue. What it is you have to consume people, which is Alex's special ability. He can consume people to gain their memories. But the game is, pretty clear on telling you who you have to consume. And it's not only used to move the story, you also have to use it for upgrades, which I will talk about in a couple minutes or something. But for what it's worth, the story is actually pretty good. It does wrap up well. I did enjoy this. Some of the characters, though, are okay. I mean, without giving too much away, the specialist isn't that bad, and Dana Mercer, I believe that's her name, is an alright, but she sounds a little monotone. Or not very shocked or enthusiastic. Wait, why would she be enthusiastic? Forgot I even said that. In terms of how it plays, that's the big thing that's been going around. Prototype. Apparently, people have been saying this is like the Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, which is just like Radical Entertainment's which was Radical Entertainment's last game for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. And it's pretty much the exact same thing. I never played it, so I don't know. But by how it plays pretty well. I mean, Alex is a shapeshifter, so as I said before, he can consume people to gain their memories and get specific abilities. Also, when he consumes people, he can take on their disguise, where he can become them, like look like them. So you consume a soldier, you can look like the soldier if you so choose, which is great for if you raise alertness levels or if you want to sneak into a military base undetected. Also, Alex has the ability he can form his body into different weapons. So, for example, one of the first powers you get is the ability to get claws. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it's not bad for a start. He also has the ability to turn his fists into these really, I like to call them massive wrecking balls, because they can pretty much destroy anything. You also get other abilities, but I'm not going to spoil them for you. You'll find them out as you progress through the game. Uh, you also get how this has all worked is each time you complete objectives in the story mission within the main story missions or extra side missions, such as there are side missions and then there are such as glide missions or consume this people, complete this objective, destroy this base or destroy hives, which infectees are coming from. Destroy that, you get these things called what they call evolution points, otherwise known as experience points. You spend these to upgrade Alex's abilities. So you can upgrade your jump, your glide, your dash, your combat, your also basic powers, your also consumption powers as well. Also, it's used for other things, but some of the experience point units are pretty ridiculous. But since you're getting a ridiculous amount of XP, that's not much of an issue. But in terms of how it plays pretty well. The controls are a little... you have to wrap your head around it. You sometimes have to do weird combinations and stuff, but I found the controls work pretty well for the game. But it's just when you actually start to play it, that's where things, I guess, kind of break down. It starts off pretty well. I mean, the difficulty's alright, but there are these weird difficulty spikes. I'm not going to spoil where they are, but when you get to them, you'll know what I'm talking about. Also, it's just there are some points where, I've given this to people as well, and one of my friends is also playing the PC version. The controls won't do what you tell them to do. Or sometimes you'll want to do something and the game will do something else. Which, that hasn't happened for me, but I know it's happened for some, so it's something I have to point out. But the difficulty spikes is the one that's being brought up most. Yeah, the game can get pretty difficult in spots, and there are some points where it's easy. But especially like towards mid-half and the end of the game, like about I'll say 2/3 of the way through the game, when you have the military on you, it's just really nuts, and it's almost kind of insane that you can survive this. Which also carries over to missions, as I said. Some missions you'll just have to like run away, restore your health, and continue the mission. Some of it does get annoying, but it's trial and error. I figured we would get past this by now. What's another thing I should mention? The game is actually of average length. I think it took me like, what, 10, 15 hours or something. I wasn't really keeping count, but it's fun. Also, when you finish the game, you unlock a New Game Plus option. Basically what that means is all the powers that you've upgraded from your first playthrough will carry over to your second one, which I imagine would be very helpful if you're trying to go for achievements or trophies. Then there's the presentation, like how it looks. I think it looks pretty good. Although Manhattan itself isn't like 100% modeled. You do recognize some of the landmarks, like I believe I saw Madison Square Garden, the Empire State Building, and Central Park. But you know, the rest of the game looks pretty bland. The models, with the exception of the main character models, with the story models such as Dana or the Specialist or even Alex himself, is great. Alex especially because he animates really well, which is surprising for me. The other thing I also liked about this over Infamous is there aren't really that many bugs in this game, which is a good touch, and the frame rate is mostly solid. It only drops when the screen gets extremely hectic. My friend also tested this on the PC. I asked him about his performance, and he said it's silky smooth, but of course, he's running something that exceeds the recommended requirements. I can't really talk about like if the controls are better. I'd have to ask him more details, but he said it works well, although I would prefer a gamepad for something like this game. Overall, I think Prototype is great, although Infamous is the better game. Infamous is the better game, though, but Prototype is just about pure mass destruction, and I love that stuff. It may not be the greatest thing, but it's something like to let off steam. Just like, you know, you're cruising around in Grand Theft Auto and just running people over, just shooting people randomly because it makes you feel better. Stress-free. Same story with this. It's just pure, utter destruction. I love it. But, you know, if you can't handle that, I suggest you rent it first. See if it's your kind of game. That said, thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you later.